Hello and good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you. We're going to be on the tube. Hope today you'll be feeling grand and all is well in your world. Duh. Hi everybody, I got a bit carried away. Okay, overly excitable. Okay, so today's video is it's going to be a guitar lesson, everybody, about the Delta Blues. And basically what I'm going to do today is I'm going to teach you what I was playing in the intro jam, basically. Hopefully I won't miss anything out. And as some of it's repeated, as some of the kind of licks are repeated, I feel I might be able to get all of it, if not most of it, in this teaching video without it kind of like getting a bit convoluted and a bit confusing. So yeah, so basically what I'm going to do today is going to teach you that kind of like, you know, it's a very basic form of the style that Robert Johnson played. You know, it's that all those kind of like country blues guitarists played at the time. But this is kind of more Robert Johnson-y. It's kind of like Love in Vain, his song Love in Vain, and a couple of others as well. But I'm going to teach you basically what I played in the intro jams. So, and a few people have asked for these kind of lessons. So here we are, everybody. So, acoustic guitar, no plectrum. You can use a thumb pick if you want. I find it, I hate thumb picks. They just don't feel right. So I'm not going to. But you can use a thumb pick if you want, as some of the blues guys did. But mostly you need 3 fingers on your right hand to be able to play this. You need to be able to kind of like, you know, do stuff like that. And it kind of like, if you're hybrid picking, it can kind of like, you know, it can hinder that. And if you're kind of like just using 2 fingers, you can kind of get away with it, but not really. You want to be able to use these 3 fingers on your right hand more than anything. Like these 2, not so much, but these 3 especially. So no plectrum today. Also, another key fact of playing Delta Blues is constant bass notes. Constant accompaniment of bass. When you hear people like Robert Johnson play and people like Sunhouse, well, maybe not Sunhouse so much, but kind of a lot of these Delta Blues guys, what they can do is they can keep a constant bass. You know what I mean? They keep this. Dun, 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 dun. You know, they keep that constant accompaniment while they're playing a lead over the top. You know what I mean? They do that all the time. And that's where that famous quote that comes from Keith Richards. When Keith Richards first heard Robert Johnson, Keith Richards said, "Who's your guitarist?" And when he was told there was only one man, he was like, "What?" And you can, even now, if you listen to Robert Johnson, you are like, how is he doing any of that on his own? How is he doing that? Me and my brother were listening to him the other day, and it is one of those things. It's just like, how is he doing that? You know, that's 1940s, and he's doing stuff like that. It's just like, it's so difficult to get right. So that's, if not the most key point of playing Delta Blues, is that constant accompaniment, that constant boom of the bass, you know what I mean, while you're playing lead. And again, that's where hybrid picking comes in. You can't really strum this style. It's not really that kind of thing. And hybrid picking it with a pick you can kind of do, but it kind of limits you. You need those 3 fingers to be able to do stuff like this. And I've got to say, I've been trying to do this constant bass thing for years and years and years, and I'm still struggling with it, keeping it consistent, you know what I mean? It's really, really difficult to keep it consistent. Okay, so yeah, important things, no plectrum. These 3 fingers on this hand are going to be used all the time. Hopefully, I'll get the camera close enough so if there's anything I miss, hopefully you'll be able to see it, and I'll try and slow things down as much as I can and do things as simple as possible. And again, think about that constant bass, dum, 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 dum. It's constantly falling on the beat. People try and mask it sometimes with tapping a foot. You can kind of get away with masking it by tapping your foot, but you really need it for it to sound authentic. Okay, so they're the 2 key points. Another key point is get ready for stretches. Get ready for certain bends that are a bit strange. Which is basically, I'll get to that when I get to it. But and just basically get ready for like fiddly widdly stuff like, oh, like say me. You know, stuff like that is very fiddly. So so be prepared, everybody. But like I say, key points are always use your fingers on this hand. Never use your fingers on this hand. It's best if you kind of like use the fat of your hand. I'm joking, of course. But yeah, always use your fingers on your right hand. Hybrid picks you can kind of get away with. Thumb picks are okay if you can use thumb picks. Strumming and trying to get it with just like flat picking, it's not going to work. Invariably, you know, you need to use your fingers. That's what those guys did back then. People like Robert Johnson. I think Robert Johnson used a thumb pick. If that pitches, one of those two pitches that is to believe, he used a thumb pick. But if you listen to recordings, it does sound more like his fingers. It doesn't really sound like there's a plectrum in there. Although in that picture of him sat in his three-piece suit with his acoustic, he has got a thumb pick. But I've got to say, if you listen to the recordings, it doesn't sound like he's got one. It sounds really kind of. It's got that sound of like, you know, of skin on strings, so to say. There you go. There's a song title for you. Skin on Strings Blues. Okay, so yeah. Without further ado, let's dive into this, shall we? Because let's get into the intro. So enough jibber jabbering. Okay. So let's jump in. Let's start the intro. Okay. So the intro we're going to be doing is this. Okay, so this is where we're going to start. So basically, what we're doing here is like an A7 major 7 triad, basically. So it's your middle finger wants to be on the 9th fret on the G. Your first finger wants to be on the 8th fret on the B, and then your ring finger wants to be on the 9th fret on the high E. And we're going to be playing the A open string with our thumb. So what we're going to be doing here is playing all the strings kind of all at the same time. And basically what we're going to be doing is your thumb's going to be playing the A, your first finger on this hand is going to be playing the B and the G string, and then your ring finger, your middle finger on the right hand is going to be playing the high E. Okay, so and they're all in sync. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so that's what we're doing here. So, like I say, what's going on with this first finger on this hand is you're strumming up and you're getting both. You're not just getting that B string, you're getting the B and the G. Oh, hang on. You're getting those two notes. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. So this is what first rhythm. And again, also another thing I nearly forgot to point out is the A string is palm muted. Gives it that percussive sound. It's not this. It's this. Okay, so it gives it a percussive kind of bass tone that is very, very prominent in this kind of Delta blues style. So, first chord. Okay. Like I say, the G, B, and E strings are not palm muted, but that low A, that A string is, because it gives you more low end thump, basically. Okay, so that's the first part. And then we're going to move this position down one fret to the 8th. So now we've got 8, 7, 8. If that makes any sense. So, and then we're just going to go same thing again. So from here. Okay, so that's the intro. So hopefully you can do it. I'm going to try and do it really slow. Okay, so starting with this one. And then once we get to that, back to that kind of like that A, we're going to go slide that down. Okay, so one more time for look, really slow. Okay, so that's kind of like intro part 1. Intro part 2 is this, which is very classic. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is like a chromatic run on the D string, and we're basically doing like a double stop on the B and the high E strings. So the first shape we're going to do is your first finger wants to be on the 5th fret on the D. G string is not played, so G string's dead. And then your ring finger and your little finger, or you can do it with those two fingers if you'd like, but you kind of need to be able to stretch. So ring finger and little finger is kind of like your best option. So first finger on the 5th fret on the D, and then you're doing this double stop on the B and the high E on the 5th fret. Okay. And then the next one, what we do is we leave these two fingers where they are and we move the first finger down to the 4th fret, and then the 3rd fret, and then the 2nd fret, and then we play an E major. Okay? So again, coming back to this position. So 5th fret, everything on the 5th fret. 4th with the double stop on the 5th. 3rd with a double stop on the 5th. 2nd with a double stop on the 5th. And then an E major chord to go to the 5 chord. And then we go back in. Then we're into the main bulk of the song. Then we're out of the intro and into the song. You know, and then we're into the A. So the whole thing so far we've got is this. And you can play this E any way you want. You can go, which is basically playing the low E string. Again, palm muted. Bass notes are predominantly always palm muted in this kind of Delta blues style. So you're playing that. You don't even need this you don't need your left hand here, because what you're doing is you're playing the low E string and the B and the high E open into it. So again, it'd be or you can go, you can strum it, and the same thing goes with this. You don't have to go, you can go, the world is your oyster basically with blues, this kind of like Delta blues, because you know, any change you can do is valid. You know what I mean? You can kind of mess around with it however you want. So the whole thing so far really, really slow. I'll try and do 2 variations of it. So the whole thing really slow so far is this. Okay, and variation 2. Okay, and then we're into the main bulk of the song. So that's a very kind of stereotypical kind of Delta blues intro, if you will. Okay, so now into the main 12-bar progression. Okay, so the first chord we're going to go to is an A with an extra A. So it's quite a stretch here. So what you've got is your A string open, and then your first finger is barring the D, G, and B strings on the 2nd fret. And then this little finger wants to reach up to the A string on the high E. So you're getting that chord. Okay? So out of this E, we'll be going to that. And it's a bit of a transition when you first kind of start. So just kind of like, just try and practice doing that for a while before it gets comfortable. It's a bit of a stretch, and you have to go from your thumb over the top here to behind to be able to get that stretch. Your thumb has to go behind there. There's no way you can kind of do that, because your hands are just going to end up like a dead crab cooking in the desert sun. Crabs in the desert? I don't know. Anyway, so this is the first chord we're going to go to. This is the A chord. This is the 1 chord of the 12 bar. Okay, so it's just basically an A major with an extra A. Okay, and then from this chord, we're going to go to this chord, which is an A. It's like a dominant 7, if you will. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to move on the high E, we're going to move from the 5th fret to the 3rd fret while keeping this finger always in place. And then down to the 3rd fret on the high E. So 5th fret, 3rd fret. Okay? And that's going to sound, you want it to sound like this, out of the E. Okay? So again, I'll try and do it really slow so you can see it. And hopefully you'll be able to see my right hand of what's going on here. I'm actually playing the high E and B strings together. So that both those strings are playing. It's not just the high E. I'm actually playing the high E and the B, but I'm fretting only the high E. So you're always getting this note. Excuse me. Okay, so coming out of the E turnaround. Get the A on the 5th fret. Okay, and try to do it really slow, so it's like this. Okay, so that's basically our 1 chord. That's the rhythm, and that's how we're going to play that A, that 1 chord. Because what you've got there, you've got a whole chord. So, and what you're doing is you're accenting the bass, and you're playing like basically a lead kind of bit over the top with this bit. And then you've also got kind of a rhythm part as well in the whole thing. So you are basically playing bass, rhythm, and lead all at the same time. So it's just super cool, and I love it. And it sounds glorious. Absolutely glorious. Okay, so the whole thing so far is... Okay, so that's where we are so far. And like I say, keeping that constant palm muted bass going is absolutely key. You can feel it. It adds to the pulse of the music. It's the life of the music, so to say. Okay, so next chord we're going to go to is a B major 7. I think it's a B major 7. I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, so basically what it is you got your D string open, and now we're going to go from palm muting the A string to palm muting the D string. But we need the G, B, and high E strings open to ring out. Okay, so we can't palm mute the G, B, and E. We just have to be able to palm mute the D. But they have to be open, but that D string has to be palm muted. So D major 7 is your middle finger wants to be on the 2nd fret on the G, first finger wants to be on the 1st fret on the B, and then your ring finger wants to be on the 2nd fret on the high E. Instant blues. That's what that chord is. Okay, and this is where things are going to get a bit more interesting because we're going to start walking, doing a bit of a walking bass as well. So out of this. To the D. Okay, go. That's where we're going to stop. So down, down, down. Okay, and that's where we're going to stop. Where we just that D chord. Because then what we're going to do is this. This is where things are going to get a bit fiddly. This D chord is always fiddly. Okay, so from this D chord, we're going to go open from that. We want to play open low E, 1st fret low E, to the F sharp, so 2nd fret low E. And then we're going to want to reform this D major 7 chord in the bottom, so it looks like that. I don't know, I hope you'll be able to kind of see. So what's going on here is my first finger, oh, this finger is on the 2nd fret on the low E. My first, I'll tell you what, I'll do it in order of fingers. So first finger, this one here, is on the 1st fret on the B string. 2nd finger is on the 2nd fret on the low E. ring finger is on the 2nd fret on the G, and then your little finger is on the 2nd fret on the high E. So it's that chord. Okay, and this is the bit I'm terrified about explaining because I feel I'm going to get it wrong. Okay, so this is what we're going to basically play here. Okay, so do it really slow. Okay, it's really... And that's kind of... That low E string is kind of open, but you start to palm mute it as you get to that F sharp. So when you get to that F sharp, it's now palm muted again, so you can go... You know, you get that percussive sound again. So, the whole... You know, from the A... Okay, now we're going to get to this fiddly bit, this is the bit I'm terrified about teaching. So we've got we got that. So now this fiddly bit is this. We're gonna start on the 2nd fret on the low E string. You can palm mute this note here in this riff, or you don't have to. It's totally up to you. You can, but you don't have to. You can let it ring out, or you can palm mute it. Running into the F sharp. You know, you kind of want to be not palm muted, kind of palm muted. But when you get to this, you don't have to palm mute it, but you can. It's totally up to you. Do what you want there, people of the tube. It's totally your decision at that point. Okay, so this lick is you play your low E string first, and then you go to, and notice how my little finger is kind of hovering. It's not doing anything at this point in time. The actual high E is actually open. Okay, and that's for a reason in a minute. So you play the 2nd fret on the low E first, then we go to the G string on the 2nd fret, and then we go to the B string 1st fret, and then we go back to the G string again, and then we go down to the high E on the 2nd fret, and that's a pull off. So when you get to the high E string, you play the 2nd fret on the high E, and then you pull off to the open string high E, and then you play the B string on the 1st fret, and then to finish up it's the G string on the 2nd fret. And there's actually an extra bass note in there as well. Hopefully you can kind of see that. So if I do it really slow... And it doesn't have to be a pull off actually, come to think of it, playing it slow like that. You don't have to pull it off, but you can if you want. So it's low E, G, B, G, low E, and then to your high E. And then you finish up on the B string. So I do apologise, there is no G string there. You finish up on that B string on the 1st fret. Okay, so the whole thing on the D is this. Okay, I'll try and do this slow. I think I've kind of got through this. This is kind of like my scary part. Because once you've got this, you can repeat this every time you go to the D, and also you repeat it on the turnaround as well, which you'll see in a minute. Okay, so D. Slow, Dave, slow. Hopefully you'll be able to kind of see what I'm doing with my right hand and my left hand. And then we do this kind of like reach up thing by a little finger. So we go back, once we've played that, once we've hit that B string on the 1st fret, we go play the F sharp note on the low E again, so 2nd fret low E, and then the little finger reaches up to the G note, the 3rd fret on the low E. So don, don, like that, and then we go back to the A. Okay? So the whole thing really slow, the D, well I'll tell you what, I'll play from the A, so the whole thing really slow is this. Okay, so we're back to the A chord then, we're back to the 1 chord. We come from the 4 chord back to the 1. So that's the A and the D, and once you come back round there, you can kind of do it, you can go back to this. So... you can do something like that, you can just stay... you can stay doing that. It's really free game, basically. You can kind of do whatever you want. You are very free, but you are kind of confined in that freedom, if you know what I mean. But it's a nice confinement. You know, you're not wishing you could get out of it, so to say. So out of the D. Okay, you can do something like that, say, which is basically just like, you know, exactly what we were doing, apart from there's a certain chord in there where it's like an A chord with an F sharp in the bottom. So you're playing... this first finger is basically barring the D, G, B, and high E. So you can go... so you can do that kind of thing, okay? So then we're coming to the turnaround, so the 5, 4, and then back to the 1 bit. Okay, so what we're doing here is... okay, so it starts with this bass rundown. So we're playing the low E string on the 3rd, and then the low E string on the 2nd, and then open low E string. Okay, and then we go to a D major, an E major shape. Okay, so, you know, first finger is on the 1st fret on the G, 2nd finger is on the 2nd fret on the A, and your ring finger is on the 2nd fret on the D. Okay, so this is our 5 chord. This is the 5th chord of the progression. Well, the 5 chord of the progression, not the 5th chord of the progression. There's only 3 chords in the thing. Anyway, so yeah, we go 3rd, 2nd, so open, and then what we do is we do this kind of hammer on. Again, which is like instant blues. So we're going to this E major chord, and what we're doing is we're gonna play the low E string open and hammer on to the 1st fret on the G string, using our 1st finger, like that. And again, par muted, low E, par muted bass note. And then we're gonna hit the high E string open like that. And again, really hit the guitar. It's not Delta blues is not a subtle style where you kind of like, you know, you're really twanging those strings. So, okay. Okay, so coming out of this part, the A. Okay. Okay. Like I say, hopefully if there's anything I do miss to talk about, hopefully you can kind of see it and kind of like, you know, fill in my blanks because I'm a bit stupid. Okay, so that's the E lick. And then what we're going to do, we're going to basically go back to doing that D major 7 bit again. So what we're going to do is go from that open string, we're going to do that walk up again. So open, 1st, 2nd on the low E. And we're going to do that lick again. Okay, so that's basically repeated. Okay, so it's basically the same thing as the D, but without that bit on. It's just that bit. So coming out from the A before the turnaround. And then we go back to this. Okay? So basically that's kind of like one go around, if you will. So, if I do the whole thing from intro to where we are so far really slow, this is what we've got. So. A to D, fiddly a bit, A. And then we go around again, basically. So we're into the 12 bar at this point. So like I say, again, if there's anything I've missed, hopefully you can kind of see. I did miss the bass run down there, but again, do it if you want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. I just obviously didn't. You know, again, I don't really think about it anymore. So it's like if it's not there, I didn't mean, you know, obviously I didn't want to do it, kind of thing. But there is yeah, so when you're doing that bit, before this bit, you go. You want to be kind of doing that da 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 da, that kind of run up before you get to the. So let me try and do it really slow. Okay. So that's the core of this kind of Delta blues style. That's like a verse. That's like a basic kind of verse, if you will, in this kind of Robert Johnson Delta blues kind of country blues kind of style. So now I'm going to speak on some variations in the verse, and the variations normally happen around the A chord. They normally, you know, there's very, 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 very few variations around the D and the E. It's mainly around the A. The 4 and the 5 chord in the 12 bar are normally left kind of the same as, you know, they don't normally change those things. So so variation 1, if we're coming out of this turnaround, so we just got. Variation 1 is this. Okay, so but you know, and then you can see me going to the D chord, which is exactly the same as it always will be. So variation 1 is this chord, which it's just an A major 7 or a dominant. I don't know if it's dominant or a major. It's just an A7 again, basically, but in a different position. Instead of down here, it's here. So what we're going to do here is your first finger wants to be on the 5th fret on the D. Your second finger wants to be on the 5th fret on the B. And then your ring finger wants to be on the 6th fret on the G. Okay, and we're going to be doing that kind of like, again, that constant bass. So coming out of this to that shape. And we can play it once, or we can go, you know, we can do that. And then what we're going to do is basically move that shape down a fret. So we've basically got like, instead of 5, 5, 6, it's now 4, 4, 5, if that makes any sense. So first finger's on the 4th fret, your middle finger's on the 4th fret, and your ring finger's now on the 5th fret. Forget the low E there. Okay, so it's basically the same thing. Just in a different kind of. It's a different chord, actually. I think that's a major, and I think this is a dominant. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so all I know is how to play it, and all I know is it sounds what they're doing. Okay, so you can do this with this chord. Again, it's just moving it in semitones, basically. So coming out of this bit. Fourth, 5th. Okay, so you can do it like that. So 5, 4, 5. And again, what's happening down here on this end is I'm using my middle finger to play the B string, and I'm using my first finger to play the G and the D. another way of playing it is like that as well. Like I say, don't shy away from hitting the guitar. You've really, really got to hit the guitar. Okay, so coming out of this bit, try and do it slow, Dave. So you can do it like this. And then go to the D, or you can go. You can do that, or you could just hit it once. Kind of interesting, actually. Or you could go like this. So you could do that. Again, do whatever you feel like, you know what I mean? And also, blues guitarists would sometimes extend bars to get certain words in. So it wouldn't necessarily go like this sometimes. And then to a D. Sometimes there we go. Sometimes they would extend, and Robert Johnson does that all the time. Sunhouse does that all the time. Howlin' Wolf does it. Big Bill Brunsey does it. And they said John Lee Hooker. Mississippi John Hurt did it. You know, all these blues guys would extend the progression so it actually worked for them. Okay, so that's variation 1 on the A. So yeah, like I say, this is all in the intro jam. So if you do get confused, you can kind of go back and watch that intro jam and see what's going on. Another variation is kind of like a kind of a solo section, is where we go back to the initial chord where we started with, this A7 here. So if we come from a turnaround, we can go back to that original chord, and then to the D. Okay, so we can do that. We can go to this one. And again, you can play it however you want. You can slide into it. Then you can put this bit in, which I really like doing. I love doing that. That's one of my favourite things to do. You can play it once. You can do whatever you want. Just play around and experiment with different rhythms and how you're going to play it. You can do whatever you want there. So that's variation 2. Again, always altering the 1 chord at this point in time. We're not altering the 4 chord, which is the D, and we're not altering the 5 chord, which is the E. Okay, so we're only altering the 1 chord at this point in time. Another one, which is just classic Delta blues, is this one. Okay, and I love this one. This one is, again, this is just like, this is classic. And if I have chance for a story at the end of this video, I'll tell you a story about this lick, because I call it the go away lick, and I'll explain why in a bit. But basically, if we're coming out of a turnaround, we can go right down here. I would go to the 14th fret on the G, but it's dead. I've got a dead fret there. So anyway, so this leg is, what we're doing is we've got the percussive low, the A string, so a palm muted A string, giving our rhythm, dun 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 dun. And what we're doing is, first finger wants to be on the 12th fret on the high E, and then you want to be using your middle finger on the 13th fret high E, and all you're doing is you're leaving your first finger on the 12th fret where it is, and you're bending up the B string on the 13th fret. Like that. And it all happens at the same time as the bass note. So you see what I mean there? So hopefully you see what I mean. And you can do it like that. You can also go down to add in the 14th fret on the high E. And it actually works better if you can resolve up to the 14th fret on the G, but like I can't because I've got a dead fret. So you can kind of go. And then to the D. Or you can do D down here. I can't do that one. So you can go. I don't know. But yeah, you can do the D7 shape down here. So basically it would be on the 14th fret with your middle finger, 13th fret with your first finger, and your ring finger would be on the 14th fret on the high E. Okay? So you can go. Okay, so that's another variation. Like I say, you can go to your D7 down here as well. Because, obviously, I can't play that note, so it sounds weird. But you can do that down here. Again, like I say, it'd be first finger on the 13th fret on the B. Sorry, your middle finger would be on the 14th fret on the G, and your ring finger would be on the 14th fret on the high E. If I press down hard enough, I can get the note. Okay, so, go easy on my old K guitar. It's very old and it's had a very, very, very hard life. Although it doesn't look like it because it's in incredible condition. But anyway, so that's another variation as well. So we've got this variation. This variation. And then we've got this variation. Oh. And you can also mix and match these, so you can go. So you can mix them up however you wish. You can kind of change them up. You can start going. And then go to the D. You can do, you can mess around with it. So that's variation 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so and again, you can play around with them to your heart's content, basically. Just like, just have fun. Just have immense fun with it. Do not kind of like go, you know what I mean, and take it too seriously. Just have fun with it. It's really key. If you have fun, it'll stick in your head, Ben. You'll learn better as if you're not. So, okay. So now, on to this one, which I've stolen from the legendary Rory Gallagher, and this one is difficult to do. Okay, so this is hard. This is a really hard one to do. So, and this goes throughout the 1, 4, 5 progression. This goes over an entire 12 bar. So this is a guitar solo section, basically. So what we're doing, we're going to bar the B and high E strings with our little finger. Okay? And then what we're going to do, we're going to do this walking bass line. Oh. With the other fingers we've got spare. Okay, so, and it's really important, like again, to palm mute the bass notes, but keep this, the B and the high E, open. Do not palm mute them. You don't want that kind of sound. You want them to be really loud. Okay, so the first one, the walking bass in over the A chord is open A, and then we go to the 3rd fret on the A, and then we go to the 2nd fret D, and then we go to the 4th fret D, and then we go down to the 2nd fret G, and then we go back to the 4th fret D, 2nd fret D, and then we finish up on the 3rd fret on the A. So. Okay, while doing that double stop. So. And it's invariably these two fingers that'll do the work. This kind of finger normally, if it's not hanging out the front, it hangs out behind. Especially for me, it just kind of like goes under the neck and gets itself out of the way. So that's the first. That's over the A chord. That's the kind of walking bass line / lead bit. Okay, so that's kind of like that bit. And again, if that starts to hurt your hand, stop immediately. It does take a bit of getting used to. Okay, so the D progression is, again, this double stop on the 5th fret on the B and high E does not change. That's constantly there. So the walking bass line for the D chord, the 4 chord, is open D string, 3rd fret D, 2nd fret G, 4th fret G, 5th fret G, 4th fret G, 2nd fret G, and then we finish back up on the 3rd fret on the D. So. Okay, so that sounds like that. Okay, and the G string is not palm muted in that run, because that G string, if you palm mute it, it does sound weak. So you need that G string unpalm muted, but you need the D string palm muted. So D string's palm muted, but the G string isn't. You can hear the difference. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's the A, that's the D, and then the E is the run for the E again with a double stop is open E, 3rd fret on the E, 2nd fret on the A, 4th fret on the A, and then we go to the 2nd fret on the D, 4th fret A, and then 2nd fret A, and then finish up on the 3rd fret on the low E. So the low E one is this. Oh no, sorry, actually it's shorter than that. I do apologise, because it's a turnaround. It doesn't go for as long. It's so it's dun 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 dun. So it's open E, 3rd fret low E, second fret on the A, and then it's the 4th fret on the A, and then it goes straight back to the 2nd fret on the A. And then we do the same thing on the D. So it's open D, 2nd fret, 3rd fret on the D string. And then we go to the 2nd fret G, 4th fret G, go back straight away, kind of like pretty much straight away to the 2nd fret on the G. And then we go back to the, and then we display an open A string, palm muted, and then back to. Okay? So that whole thing is like this. And then we're back to the A again. Okay, so that one's really hard. And that's like a solo section, if you will. That's like a solo bit. As is Aldi. You can take a break whenever you want and do. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty much all the variations I wanted to talk about for now. I will do follow-ups on this video and kind of extend it, and also we'll learn in different keys. This one's in an A, sorry. I will teach one in E, and I'll also be teaching a slide one in open G as well. So it'd be that kind of thing. So that was a great impression. That sounded just like Elmore James. Anyway, although Elmore James wasn't a Delta Blues guy. But anyway, moving along. So yeah, right now, how to end it. You always leave Delta Blues on a dominant 7 unresolved chord. You never go like... You never go... That's too nice. You always go... You always end up... Every Delta Blues song ends with that dominant 7. So in this case, it's an A dominant 7. Okay? So what we're doing to end it is this. We're doing that run. And then we play... And we go open G string, 2nd fret G string, and then finish up on that chord. Hang on a minute, is it B string? Hang on a minute, I'm lost, everybody. No, it is right, yeah, it's for G string. So out of this, open G string, 2nd fret G string, and then we end on the dominant A7. So what that is basically is your open A string. And again, you're not palm muting it now. You can let that A string finally ring out and breathe to end with. Just nice ending. So open A string. First finger wants to be barring the 2nd fret on the D, G, and B strings. And then you can use your middle finger or your ring finger. I always use my ring finger. It just feels more comfortable. On the 3rd fret on the high E. And again, it's kind of like you're playing all those strings. So my middle finger on this finger is playing the high E. And then this finger, my first finger on this hand, is kind of strumming up the B, G, and D strings. You know, and you can go, oh, you can do all sorts to end it, but that's how you end it. Okay, so just to end it, gonna go like this. Love that dead fret. Anyway, so yeah, there we go, everybody. That's kind of like, I've just realised, I hope you can see what I'm doing. And I hope this has made sense. I really, really, really hope this has made sense. Especially that. I'm terrified that... You know, hopefully that D made sense. That is the one lick. But I'm absolutely terrified about teaching wrong. So hopefully if I've explained it wrong, you can see what I'm doing enough to kind of like, you know, to take it from there, I was going to say. Okay, so yeah, there we go, everybody. That's my first lesson really on the that fingerstyle acoustic Delta Blues kind of thing. So I hope it's been informative, and I'm going to see if I've got enough time for a little story about this lick. Because it's, well, I think it's quite funny. I find it. If you don't want to hear the story, you can turn off now. And if you do, thank you. And if you do, thank you very, very much for watching. I hope this video has been informative. I hope this has been informative. I hope this is a kind of like nice entryway into that kind of Robert Johnson Delta Blues kind of thing. And yeah, I hope there's something you can take away from it. As usual, I have a fear that it's all nonsense, and I've just gone and ruined everybody's 48 minutes. But yeah, I do hope there's something in there you can kind of take away. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. And if you're going to hang around, let me tell you that story. Okie dokie, so this is, I call that the go away lick. because I was playing a blues festival about 4 years ago now. I was playing it solo acoustic, and I was doing a Big Will Brunsey number called is it Big Will? Yeah, Big Will Brunsey number called Banker's Blues, and it goes like this. So you got two of those licks. You got an A, and then an A, and then an E. Okay, so you got that. That's kind of like the intro, and then it does that. No, you know heard that one before? But it's all over Delta Blues, that lick. Anyway, this is called the Go Away lick. Because, well, that was the second song I'm gonna say. It's called Banker's Blues, and the first song I did was Too Much Alcohol, and it was Rory Gallagher's version, so it was quite in your face slide playing. So anyway, I did that, and there was maybe about 20 people in this little marquee tent I was playing in. It was kind of like, and it was raining outside, so it was grim. It was good, it was just really, it was blue, man. Anyway, it was a grey day, and it was raining, and Joe was sat down there, and the sound guy was like off to my left there. So they were there, and then over there was where these 20 odd people were. So I did Too Much Alcohol, and no one applauded. No, it was just nothing. It was just like people looking at me like that. And I was like, okay, tough crowd. And so I thought, right, well, it's a blues festival. I'll do Banker's Blues next. It wasn't going to be the second song in the set, but I thought I'll do it. Why not? So I'll do it because that's a traditional, very traditional blues intro. Maybe I'll teach that one day as well because it's an immense intro. And it's Rory Gallagher's version. I'm not sure about, but it's kind of close to Big Will Brunsey's. But anyway, so as I introduced the song, I said, this is a Big Will Brunsey song called Banker's Blues, and explained, a bit of kind of what was going on with it. And then I started it. So I went like this. And literally, as I'd finished that, before I even got to do the E lick, which is the same thing, half the people had gone, and by the end of the E, before I even got to this, everyone was gone. 20 people literally left in this amount of time. And 20 people had gone, and that was it. The marquee was empty. It was just the sound guy and Joe left, and that was it. And I was like, still got 27 minutes to go of this yet. It was rather embarrassing, everybody, to say the least, and so that's why it's called the Go Away lick. It obviously, go away. It obviously screams "Go away." I don't want you to listen to me. Go away. Hopefully I won't have the same effect on this video. Everyone just disappears all of a sudden. Just out of curiosity, how long is that? Let's do a quick stopwatch time thing. Okay, so we. That's about 4 seconds. Okay, so in the space of 4 seconds, 20 people vacated this tent, this little marquee tent I was playing in. And like I say, it was one of those moments where I'm like, oh no. And I even started singing yet, and I've got a really bad voice. If I'd walked out when I was singing, I could totally understand it. But it was a blues festival, bear in mind, and I did that. Which has been like a staple of blues intros since the 40s, probably even before that. So I was a bit like, Anyway, everyone left, and I did another 10 minutes only. There was nobody in there. It was Joe and the sound guy. And the sound guy eventually basically said, just stop, mate. There's no point. And I left, and as I left, another guy got up and was doing pretty much the same kind of thing. And everyone just came back in! Is it the face? Could be the face. I know, I may look like Gollum, but I'm not evil. Yet. Anyway, there you go. That's my story, and that's why that's called the Go Away lick. Or Get Out lick. That's Go Away, and that's Get Out. Anyway, there's my little story on the go away, get out lick, if you will. So anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video, everybody. I hope there's been something in there you can take away. I hope you kind of like there's you can see what's going on. I hope I've explained it okay, so you can kind of go away and start kind of messing around with this kind of style, because it's a gorgeous style to play with. Not only on an acoustic guitar, but if you play an electric guitar and go to the neck pickup on the electric guitar, you can get a gorgeous kind of like sound with this kind of style. It's really it translates so well to electric guitar. So but yeah, that's the first video in this thing. Like I said, I will be teaching another one in the key of E, and I'll be teaching one in open G, which will be a slide lesson at some point. So yeah, so anyway, I really enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon for another one. Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Yeah, is there anything else I need to say? No, but I do need to remind you quick. Always remember, constant bass note. You know, they always do it, even down to country blues like Mississippi John Hurt. You've always got a constant bass going. If either it's going dun 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 dun, or like a walking bass line, or just a constant bass note. You know what I mean? So yeah. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again on Monday for another video. Have a great weekend. Have a great morning, afternoon, good evening. Goodbye now. Unresolved. Always leave it unresolved.